Welcome back, YouTubers. Time for the Evil Bad Book Club, where we're talking about this book, Chapter 5. All right, so in this chapter, you got Turner going over his security or early warning systems for their safe house that they have in the industrial area. So he's rigging up some different pressure switches that set off basically like a dinger in the old school dingers that you'd have in stores. But he used the same type of technology, but put it an inch underneath the dirt out in the yard. And then on the concrete area or the paved part, he put like a photo sensor. Keep in mind, this was written in the 70s, so there weren't any motion detecting lights or anything like that. Those really weren't prevalent until probably the 80s, if I remember, my childhood. So something like that probably wouldn't have been very prevalent at that time. So he uses what he has, and then he devises a way so they can have an escape route from their safe house. So it's an old mechanical place, and there's like a what do you call it? A pit, so you can work on cars. A lot of old mechanic places, like Uncle Ed's or whatever does now, you drive over and you got a pit down below. You drive over the pit, and then they can work underneath the car. So there's something like that in this building that they're renting. So down in that, apparently there's a drain, and the drain hooks up to a storm sewer or storm drain, which is about 4 foot wide or round. So it's enough room for people to go through. So he follows it out to wherever it goes, some culvert, and there's like some bracing or whatever there, and he cuts it and prepositions things so that they can escape that way if they ever need to. Smart, if you have a retreat idea or a retreat plan, even at your home or your bug out location, if you have one, it's smart to do. If somebody comes pounding on your door, and that you can't fight them off, how are you going to retreat? How are you going to get away? So it goes into those contingency plans. You need to have a contingency plan for if things go south. And that's what Turner and his team are doing. They're making plans. They're also getting everything set up so that they can be warned early, so they're not surprised. He also has set up basically a clock that'll come on whenever any of those switches, those pressure switches, or that photo sensor goes off, so they'll know, when someone was on the property. So they'll have an idea that somebody had been there, so they can be more alert or bug out or whatever. You got to keep in mind these guys are considered terrorists at the time. So those things are kind of cool takeaways from this chapter. Just how you should think about your contingencies for evacuation and contingencies for an alarm system. Nowadays we've got all these fancy camera alarms and camera things that you can check on your house when you're not there. That's kind of a cool idea. They didn't have that back then, but you have that opportunity to do those kind of things now. Via the internet, you can watch what's going on in your house in real time. That's pretty cool. Of course, you got to take into consideration other security issues, like if anybody else can access that, because then they're checking you out while you're home and stuff. So you got to consider all those things. I generally don't like that kind of stuff in my house, as far as Alexa and all that crap. But if if you're savvy, you know, there's some definite options there. And then the rest of the chapter, it goes into how Turner's team and this other team are trying to get the explosives together for, you know, the mission that they have on the federal building. So the other team is trying to gather explosives. They're having a hard time, so they have to do some improvising, and they end up using ammonium nitrate, which ties in. I'm sure this begins to tie in with the Oklahoma City bombings that happened in real life with Timothy McVeigh. And so, you know, he doesn't tell you exactly how to make this bomb or whatever, but he kind of gives you the ingredients. So you got a general idea of what's going on or what they used. And so it's kind of interesting. And then he goes over how they plan on setting up this truck bomb. They're basically putting everything inside of a delivery truck, and then they're going to blow up the delivery truck, or at least that's the plan. And they figure out where the best place to place the truck is to do the most damage to the building, to try to eliminate the computer systems that are going to be checking everybody's IDs and things like that, kind of like the NSA or you know, our modern, you know, credit cards and stuff. Everybody can be traced, you know. If you're on the run, I mean, that's how they're going to look for you. They're going to use electronic devices like either your phone. Well, if you ditch your phone, if you've still got plastic, if you've still got, you know, a debit card or credit cards or any of that business, anytime you use that, you know, that's going to ding somewhere, and they're going to know to look for you wherever you use that. And this was written prior to us having this kind of stuff. So this is basically, you know, William Pierce had seen where this was all going, you know, back in the 70s. Because if you think about it, you know, no matter what you do, you're being monitored. So, you know, no matter how safe you feel with using your electronic devices or your credit cards or anything like that, they can track and trace you. You know, so if you're on the run, you know, not only do you want to get rid of your phone, you want to get rid of all your credit cards or any other electronic devices you have, and you might want to ditch your vehicle. You know, you got OnStar and all that stuff. You know, they didn't foresee that back then either, I guess, not yet anyway, as far as the book goes. So those are some things to think about as far as security things go if you're doing any preps or anything like that. You know, of course, you know, we're all legal citizens, and, you know, we don't plan on doing anything bad. But if things go south, you know, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when they come for you for whatever reason it may be? You need to know what those contingencies are. What's your escape plan? Where are you going to go? How are you going to get there? You know, if that doesn't work out, you know, where else can you go? How are you going to get there? If your car breaks down, how are you going to travel? Do you have a bicycle? Do you plan on hoofing it? You know, if you're going to hoof it, are you in condition to hoof it? You know, what are you going to be able to carry with you? You know, we all talk about bug out bags and stuff, and you see these people's bug out bags, and they're huge. There's no way they're going to walk any distance with those farther than maybe 100 yards, you know. So it's like, you know, in a vehicle, that's fine. But as soon as you ditch that vehicle and you have to go on foot, what are you taking with you? You know, should you already have that stuff pre-separated? Maybe a bag inside of a bag, or a bag beside the bag, or attached to your main bag. You know, those things should be considered. You know, the farther we go down these rabbit holes, the more you need to consider these things. So I think, you know, as far as a prepper or you know, a survivalist aspect goes of this book, you know, it's kind of given some good things to think about. You know, so that's what I took from it. Hopefully y'all are enjoying these videos. If you have any more ideas, let me know. Of course, I always appreciate your comments down in the comment section. I'll check you YouTubers out later. Have a great weekend.